Hey there, I'm Bill Fanter, and over the last year, I have taught over 1,200 people the power of stock options. So, in today's webinar, I'm going to give you a great overview of the program and also the potential how it can literally change your life for the better. So, let's jump right in. First and foremost, I want to be very clear that I am not a CPA, I'm not an investment advisor, I'm not an attorney. But what I am is a 35-year career professional banker who has run a $10 billion organization with 180 bank branches, 1,400 FTE, and I've generated over $120 million a year in annual net income for the organization. Additionally, I've served as a faculty member for CBA, which is the Consumer Bankers Association, teaching bankers from all around the world market sim for 5 years at Furman University. I've been investing in stocks for 25 years, and I've been trading options pretty much every single morning for the past 8 years. I've also owned over a dozen businesses where I've had my own personal capital. Listed below are several of them, which were probably some of the more capital intensive organizations that I've had a partnership and direct ownership in. Some of the things that I'm really good at are driving revenue and profitability. That's really what I've specialized in over my entire 35-year career within the financial service realm. I love to look for opportunities which are not very capital intensive. So if you look above, you'll see a commercial landscape company. Well, that was a great example where I had over $1 million of my money tied up in equipment, trucks, trailers, warehouses. And when you have so much capital tied up into something, it just precludes you from doing other things. What I like to look for now is how can I maximize my ROI with a minimum of 3 to 5x return. Now, I'm not talking about doing that in a year or a quarter or a month, but I'm actually talking about doing that in a day or a matter of hours. And that is the beauty which stock options will provide you. Let's first and foremost, though, talk a little bit about what trading is. It can be very difficult to understand until you grasp the fundamentals. And that's what I'm here to teach you over 6 sessions, pretty much everything that you're going to need to know from A to Z. Now, here's the best part. You don't need any prior knowledge or experience whatsoever. It can also be very frustrating to predict the market until you just decide to trade along with it. Let's face it, guys, we are not going to move the market, right? As a retail trader, it's going to be the hedge funds, it's going to be the market makers. So, our goal is to just follow their order flow and profit off of their moves each and every day. It can be very challenging to make money until you understand the art of risk management. And that's what I'm going to lead with. There's a whole section in the masterclass around risk management, everything from position sizing to stop losses to averaging your trades to taking profits. It can also be aggravating until you understand that you don't have to take a trade. So that's the beauty about trading. It's very different than most other things in life. You can sit there and watch the chart and just say, I don't like this setup. I don't like the way the market's acting today. It's indecisive. Therefore, I'm not going to risk any capital. I'm not going to take a trade. And you go about your business and you'll come back the next day and see if there's something that you'd like to take a swing at. It can also be disappointing until you appreciate that a green day is a good day. So whether I make 100, 1,000, or $10,000 in a given morning, every day that's green is great, right? So I don't get disappointed when I stop out of a trade with $500 in profit only to see it go up over $5,000. It's the nature of the business. We're never going to be able to catch the bottom, and we're never going to be able to catch the top. So a green day is always a good day. And it can be anxiety filled until you master patience. And that's the beauty about trading. If you are just patient for your setup, you will have, like I do, an 80% win rate each and every day. But if you're impatient, you're led with greed or FOMO, fear of missing out, or you're chasing trades, or you're anxious, or you're nervous, and you can't sit still, this is going to be a little bit more of a challenge for those types of personalities. So, when someone tells you that trading is nothing more than gambling, I'm going to agree with them 100% until you master the six pillars above. And then once you do, it literally becomes one of the world's greatest wealth building opportunities around. And I'm going to prove that to you together. So, the nice thing is every trader has the exact same information. The information I'm looking at will be the same as you, which will be the exact same as every other multi-million dollar trader trading the market every single morning. They don't have anything special. They don't have any insider knowledge. They don't have any Wall Street tips. They don't have any of that. So when you see the industry with highly successful people, it's duplicatable. What the differentiating factor is how they take that information and parse it to make their decisions, which is what separates the winners from the losers. And I'm here to teach you how to be a winner. So, what are the overall objectives of the program? First and foremost, I want you to be able to understand that you could profit from the market, whether it's going up, down, or sideways. Now, 99% of people in society only make money when the stock market goes up. Personally, that's great, but you're losing money half the time because what happens when it goes down or it corrects or things don't go your way? You actually lose capital appreciation, especially for those who are buying in at the top. With options, we make money every day. I don't care if it's going up, I don't care if the market's going down. We can profit on both sides of the trades. This is also an opportunity for you to learn an alternate skill which can dramatically improve your financial well-being. And you're going to see how that comes into play in just a few moments. I also want you to be able to understand how you can begin investing and trading with confidence. Some people that come to me, they say, Bill, I have no knowledge of the stock market. I have no knowledge how it works or what it is or how to take a trade or how to invest. Perfect. Then I don't have any bad habits that I have to break. So if you know nothing, you are a perfect candidate. Now, if you know something or you know a lot, then we can work together to hone those skills to get you to that expert level that you're searching for. You'll also have an opportunity to develop a network of world-class traders that you can continue to learn from, benefit from, and profit along the way. And then ultimately, it's really all about you having a strategy where you can succeed from the start. This is not going to be a trial and error or, learn as I go. You're going to be armed with all of the tools and resources needed to succeed from day one. So, what does it take to be successful? Well, first and foremost, I really need you to have a learner's mindset, right? Be open to the fact that there is more ways to investing than just buying stocks and hoping that they go up in value. As far as a capital investment goes, I would say 5,000 is probably on the high side, but somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000, right? That's what you're going to need to open up your brokerage account with. If you have less than 1,000, can it be done? It can, but I'm going to be honest with you, it's just going to be really, really challenging because you're not going to be able to take very many trades. But anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 is more than sufficient. You don't need 25,000. You don't need 50. You're not going to be flagged as a pattern day trader or all the other wives' tales that you've heard about in the market. I'll debunk all of those together during class. Also, consider a daily time commitment of about 1 to 2 hours a day. Now, that's only on the days that you're willing to trade. Okay. Now, I only trade the market open. So I only trade from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And most often, I'm done usually by 7:30 or 8 o'clock at the latest. I don't trade throughout the day. I don't sit and watch the charts. I don't come back at the end of the day for the closing bell. There's absolutely no need. There's more than enough profits and liquidity on the market open to make your money and then just go about your business. You'll need access to a computer or laptop with a strong internet connection. You cannot trade from a tablet and you cannot trade from an iPad. Can you trade from your phone? You can. Personally, I don't think that it's ideal, but it's definitely doable. And then you'll also want to consider a monthly investment of somewhere between $100 and $200. Now, it's not mandatory, but it's optional. So I'm going to show you all the software I use. I'm going to show you everything that I do to be successful over the long haul. Now, I treat this like a business. If you want to treat it like a business and do exactly what I do, I'll help you do that. If you just want to learn and do this more as a hobby, by all means, then you're going to save yourself $100 to $200 a month. But if you can't make that money up in a single day, then I'm going to be honest, there's probably something very, very wrong in that you're not listening to what I taught. And then you want to make sure that you have continued education and learning going forward. And I'm going to be there to provide that for you in the Discord community, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. So, the format for the masterclass is this. One, they are instructor guided sessions. I teach all of them myself. They are 3 nights a week for 2 consecutive weeks. Now, for those of you that are in the UK, the EU, Australia, Southeast Asia, other parts of the world, no worries. I know that the time frame that I teach is usually in the middle of the night for you. Therefore, I have a learn on your own format where it's all the recorded sessions that you can listen to, and then we can jump on a call separately when needed. All of the presentations, recordings, handouts, charts, layouts, everything, they're shared with you directly. They're actually all uploaded into a learning portal where you'll have infinite access to from the day class starts until you no longer need them anymore. And then I'll provide a forum where you'll be able to ask questions and gain clarity along the way. So this isn't just listening to me teach and preach for 3 nights a week. It will be more interactive where it's not only teaching, but it's also me stopping and checking for clarity. And then after every session is complete, again, you'll have continued support, learning, and all of that is done in the Discord community where I have almost 1,000 former students and traders that are all learning and profiting, and then also trading live with me every single morning, where you get to not only see my screens, but you'll hear my narrative. You'll understand when I'm getting into a trade, where I'm exiting a trade, where I'm taking profits, where I have my stop loss. I'm very, very transparent in teaching and showing you everything along the way. There should be no mystery as to how this works. So, let me give you a little bit of an example as to why I prefer options over stocks. It's not right, it's not wrong, it's just a different strategy. So if I wanted to go out and buy 1,000 shares of Chase Bank at $270.50, it would cost right around $270,000, right? That's what I got to lay out to the broker to buy 1,000 shares. Now, conversely, I can control the right to buy 1,000 shares of Chase for $270.50, but it'll cost me as little as $2,400. So think of options like this. It's kind of like back in the day with Netflix and Blockbuster. You don't buy the movie, you just rent the movie. So for me, I don't buy the stock, I just rent the stock. Okay, so I'm renting the stock for a very short period of time for a fraction of the cost. So let me show you how this works. If Chase was to go up by $1, then my equity position would go up by $1,000, right? If I bought 1,000 shares of Chase at $270 for $270,500 invested and goes up $1 a share, I made $1,000, right? The ROI is about 0.37%. Now, that exact same trade done with options is I would make $700 when Chase's stock goes up by $1 in that exact same time frame, which is an ROI of 28%. Why? Because I'm not buying the stock for 270 grand, I'm renting the stock for 2,400 bucks. Very different story, very different outcome, but I am still controlling the same underlying asset. Okay? So, options allow you to define the risk amount of the cost of the contract versus purchasing the stock outright, which opens you up yet again to unlimited risk. So if something happened with Chase, just hypothetically, and the stock dropped by 10%, I would lose 27 grand, right? Well, that would kind of suck. Now, if Chase dropped by 10%, my options contract, while they might go down by 50%, I'm only losing $1,200. I'm not losing 27,000. And my upside swing is so much more powerful. So I'm defining my risk with a much lower capital base, yet my upside potential is infinitely higher. So, as I said earlier, think of options as if you're renting the stock for a defined period of time and you get to capitalize off the move exponentially, both up and down. Because with Chase, if I thought the stock was going to go down, I could buy puts and make money as it drops lower. Whereas if I just own the stock, I just have to sit there and frankly take a beating, right? So, people always want to know, Bill, how much money can I make? Well, first and foremost, let's figure out what's at risk, which is 100% of your investment if you don't have the knowledge, discipline, and risk management protocols in place. Okay. Now, with options, you can never lose more than what you pay to get into the options contract itself when you're buying a call or you're buying a put. And I will explain more about that. And the reason I share that is you'll hear horror stories about how people lost 100 grand or 200 grand or $1 million or $5 million by trading options. Well, first and foremost, they were doing a more complex option strategy, which first and foremost, you're never going to do. Reason being is the broker would never allow it. So your defined risk will always be how much did you pay for the options contract? If you paid $100, all you have at risk is $100. If you paid 500, all you have at risk is 500. Unlike the shares of Chase, you have the entire risk of 270 grand in the example I provided. However, the more time and effort you put into learning, the greater the return on your investment is going to be. It's not difficult at all for a trader who goes into a trade with $1,000 to expect a daily return of 200 to 300%. Honestly, that's probably on the light side because that's just one trade. You could take one trade with $1,000, make 200, 300 bucks, go into one more trade with that same $1,000, make another 2 to 300, and you're done. Okay, so we're going to have some rules that you just don't sit here and do it all day long. But some traders make upwards of $50,000 a day after years of learning and consistently trading. I'll introduce you to traders who make 6 and 7 figures a day. And again, they're no different than you or I. What they've done is they have taken this seriously. They treat it like a business. They have their education. They have patience. They wait for their setup. They take their trade. They make their money. They go home. That is the order as to how this works. Okay? And then trading options can be an incredible way to profit exponentially when it's done correctly. Most people who lose money trading the market and trading options, first and foremost, I can tell you they're not doing it correctly. They don't know what they're doing. They're actually gamblers in disguise. And therefore, when they lose money, they typically are the first to complain about how it's a scam and how everybody else will be just like them. Well, the one thing you have to remember is there's two people to every single trade. So you're on one side of the trade, I'm on the other. If I win, you lose. If I lose, you win. So if you're a loser, somebody took your money from you. My goal is to teach you how to be that person who takes money from others. And no, you're not taking the opposite side of a hedge fund, right? A hedge fund is trading millions and millions of dollars in contracts. And frankly, they're not trading options, they're trading the futures market. And so, therefore, you're probably having a trade with another retail trader. My goal is to teach you how to outsmart them. And frankly, it's not very difficult after you see how this works. The one thing I can tell you is that it's easier to make $1,000 from your job, but it will be way easier to make $1 million from trading than it will ever to be to get $1 million out of your employer. Give some thought to that. It is a very powerful statement, and this can literally happen in a matter of years. It won't happen overnight, right? It's not going to happen in 30, 60, 90 days that you're going to make $1 million. But if you do it and you do it correctly, like I do, $1 million is definitely attainable within a 1 year time frame. So, why do so many traders fail? Frankly, it's really easy. See all these red text boxes? These are all the obstacles that you're going to have to overcome. And what I have done is I have built this roadmap that I'm going to take you through each and every one of these sections. We're going to talk about what is the difference between stocks and options. How do you select a contract? How do you maximize their value? How do we set up your broker? Everything that you could possibly need to know about the broker's settings. I'm going to give you all of my charts, my layouts, my indicators, my scripts, my screens. It will literally be like you are sitting at my desk trading as if it were me. I'm also going to adopt you into the Options Action Discord trading community, where we have almost 1,000 traders who have not only taken the masterclass, but who also trade live with me each and every day. And then we're going to spend a whole section on risk management, talking about key strategies, human emotion, and then we're going to do a lot of simulated trading. So not only do I do simulated trading within the masterclass, but we also do a lot of charting, how to read the charts, how to read the option chain, and everything that you could possibly need to know that nobody's going to be able to go out and just find on their own by watching YouTube videos or scrolling TikTok. So the end result will be all of those red text boxes have now turned to green, and you will have learned a skill which 99% of people will never acquire. They'll never even understand what options are. Frankly, everybody, who watches my social media or reads it, they're like, interesting, don't know anything about it. Well, you will be one of those experts who will be able to start advising others. But the good news is you can invest in the market with a great deal of confidence. And again, I don't care if it's going up, down, or sideways, you will be able to dramatically improve your household earning potential. That's the one thing nobody's going to get out of corporate America. Again, your ability to profit from options is exponential compared to traditional means, whether it's buying a business or buying real estate or any of the other things that you can do in life. Nothing, and I mean nothing, will compare to the power of options. I've done it. I've tried it all. I've seen it. If you got something better, let me know. I guarantee you it does not exist. You'll also have access to a network of millionaire mentors like mine, Gus. He's in our Discord. He does live trading. He does continued education. He does daily recaps. I got a whole team of analysts. There's 5 of them that are calling out their trades, their alerts, their price levels, their charts, and they're showing you exactly what they're doing as they are doing it. And you could literally not only follow the trade, but learn along the way. Frankly, the benefits are endless. Talk to the people on my website. Go to billfanter.com. There's probably 150 former students that have taken the class. Reach out to them. You don't need to trust me, but reach out, do your homework, and just find out how incredible this skill is for anyone to learn. And here's some of those comments. Whether you're an EVP of a bank, you work at General Mills, you're in the retail business, you're in the mortgage business, Air Force pilots. I have everybody from every industry that you could possibly imagine. You don't need to be in finance. You don't need to know anything about finance. I have teachers. I have health and fitness individuals. I have consultants. I have technology people. I mean, the list goes on and on and on as to the broad spectrum of if you're willing to learn, I know I can teach this. Okay? So what are some common questions? I'm just going to run through these real quick, but here's some things that people ask. One, if it's so attractive with trading options, tell me a little bit more as to why that is. Well, as I've shared earlier, it's really simple and it's called leverage, right? You can own 1,000 shares of Apple for 239 grand, or you can control 1,000 shares for $1,800 in a premium. Okay. So when Apple is going up $1, your premium is going up 30%. I've heard options trading is just gambling. Is that true? Absolutely. I'm here to tell you it is. Why? Because everybody who's bad mouthing it, first and foremost, didn't know what the heck they were doing. If I were to ask them why they took the trade, how were they managing risk? Where was their stop loss? Where was their profit taking target? Do you know what they're going to tell me? I didn't have one. So therefore, they were gamblers. Okay. So if you don't know what you're doing, it is gambling, and which is why 99% of people who badmouth trading, right? They had no clue what they were doing. They lost money. They're bitter. So my philosophy is don't blame the game, blame the person. Bill, your returns look too good to be true, so what's the catch? Well, that's the power of options. There is no catch. When a stock moves $1 a day, an options contract can move by 30% or more. It's leverage. One contract is controlling 100 shares of the stock. Okay? So if I'm controlling 10 contracts, I'm controlling 1,000 shares. Or if I'm controlling 100 contracts, I'm controlling 10,000 shares of Apple, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Tesla. I mean, you would have to have $1 million to control that much stock. With options, we can do it for a fraction of the price. People always want to know how much can they make. Again, all depends on your willingness to learn. My trades average between 20 and 100% daily. But if you chase the money, in all honesty, you're just going to lose it all. I mean, I've had students who have made more money in a day than they've seen in a month. Some of them have seen in a year. Um, but if you don't know when to stop and you let it turn into a casino, the casino will, in the long run, always take your money, which is why we have rules in trading. And I'm going to spend a lot of time helping you to define the rules through prudent risk management so that you keep your profits and you don't give them back. Okay? So, what is my risk to reward ratio? Well, for me, I pretty much take trades that are 1-to-1 or 2-to-1. So I'm looking for a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 payout, meaning if I invest $1 of capital, my potential is to make 100%. Or if I invest $1, I want to be able to make 200%. And I'll teach you how to do that on the charts. How much do you risk per trade? Well, for me, my average contract is, 330 to 100 contracts, which is on average about $3,000 to $10,000 of capital. So if I go into a trade with 3 grand and I make 20%, and I come out with $600, or I go into a trade with 10 grand and I walk away with a 40% return and I make 4 grand, I'm done, right? I mean, and the size of capital is all dependent upon the market conditions and the quality of the trade. Okay. So every trade is not the same. Now, are you going to be trading 30 to 100 contracts? Absolutely not. You're going to start out by trading 1 to 3 contracts. But if you're trading 3 contracts, for example, that are going to cost $300 and you're making 60% or 50%, you're making an insane hourly rate. And then the goal is focus on the skill, and then we will increase the position size as you have a proven track record with confidence. Okay? So if I'm only risking 3 to 10,000 a day, how do I get returns of 20 grand? Well, it's really simple, right? I mean, if I'm buying 10 contracts of Apple and Apple's going up $5 in a day, then my contracts can move by 300%. It is not uncommon where you are going to see trades in the morning that go up 100, 150, 200, 300%. It is volatility, which is why I only trade on the market open. How much time is required? Again, I think you're going to need to invest an hour a day to become proficient at the skill, okay? Which is going to be on the market open. So I don't trade in the middle of the day. I don't trade in the afternoons. I'm trading first thing as the market opens, first 1 to 2 hours, calling it quits, taking my profits, being grateful, going to the gym, going to the pool, beach, reading a book, shopping, whatever I want to do for the rest of the day. It's mine to spend the way I like. How much do you need to get started? Again, at a minimum, $1,000 in the brokerage account, and then think about $150 a month for the software and indicators to replicate exactly what I use. Okay. Couple more and we'll wrap it up. But how do I minimize losses? Well, I use a stop loss of 30 to 40% to stop out of a trade once it invalidates from an entry point. So yeah, I mean, I do have losing trades. About 20% of my trades are winners. 80% are winners, 20% are losers. Misspoke. 80% winners, 20% losers. And of my 20% losers, if I go in with $1,000, yeah, I'm going to lose $300. I'm going to lose $400. Who cares? I mean, when you're winning 80% of your trades with a profit target of 30 to 100%, you're going to have losses, just like any other business. Okay. How long did it take for me to learn to be consistently profitable? It takes about 90 days. And that's why I have all my students trade in a simulator with Monopoly money for the first 30 days. I don't want you risking your own capital. Okay. Again, lead with risk management. I want you to learn the software, learn the signals, learn the charts, listen to what I'm doing during the live trading, trade along with me, but just do it in a simulator. If you can't make money with Monopoly money, then I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think you should be putting real money at risk. What will I learn in the class? Literally everything. It's over 15 hours of comprehensive training, which allows students to have an incredible foundational knowledge of everything they're going to need to know from start to finish. Over the 6 sessions, I cover everything that you could possibly need to know, and then I will put it into practice live in the Discord community every single morning where you can watch with your own two eyes. How do I know what to buy and when? Well, you can come trade with me live again. And I have 4 other analysts there that provide their buy sell signals, their charts. Again, their win rate is also 80%. It's pretty much the norm. Once you get into this, you're going to find that win rates will, on average, be 80 to 90%. It's pretty normal with daily returns of 30 to 100%. Everything is documented, everything is time stamped. There's no foolishness, foolery, shenanigans, smoke and mirrors. Everything is archived in the Discord with a timestamp. So you can see literally everything which is being done. And then what happens after the class ends? Honestly, nothing. You're just going to come hang out with me and all the other students in the Discord community, where I'll be a resource, review trades, answer questions. I mean, anything that you could possibly need to know. So, with that, if you want to get started, here's what you should do. 1, register at my website, billfanter.com. The next class will be showing up as to when it's available. If there is not a class listed, then I will have the wait list open for you to join, and then I will notify you once registration is there and ready to go. There's going to be 3 options. 1, you have the learn on your own, which again is what most of my EU, UK, Australia, Southeast Asia, students from around the world will take. And not to worry, guys, you can trade the US markets with no problem. We have all the software figured out, whether it's going to be IBKR or it's going to be Thinkorswim. So no worries, regardless of where you live. There's a foundation class, which is the class that I teach all 6 sessions live. And then that also includes access into the Discord. And then there's the mastery, where it's the entire live training session. Then you're going to do one-on-one coaching with me personally around your trades, your results for 3 consecutive months. And that also has access to the Discord community, which is a huge benefit. Okay. And then finally, come join myself and 1,000 other traders live in the Discord. I mean, it's phenomenal when you have an entire community to surround yourself with to not only keep honing the skill, but then also being able to get to a point where you will find you will start wanting to teach others. And if you have any other additional questions, just email me at options@billfanter.com, or if you go to my website, just click on the contact me, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So with that, I want to say thank you. Thank you for taking an interest in listening to what I had to say today. Please feel free to reach out to any of the other students who have taken the class, get their feedback, get their perspective. But I can assure you, this will be one of the greatest investments that you could possibly make in yourself and in your family for not years to come, but for literally decades. So with that, my friend, I do hope to see you in the next masterclass. And until then, we'll talk soon and reach out if you have any questions. Thanks again. Have a great day.